Hey guys, I'm Jord, one of the co-founders of ColdFire. And today I wanted to talk to you a bit about how we operate, who we work with, but also how we are different than a lot of other lead gen agencies out there. So if you find this useful and you think we are the right match for your company, please fill out the form below, and that should get the ball rolling. All right, so let's dive right in. So ColdFire, we are indeed a lead gen partner. One of the main differences right off the bat is that we earn the vast majority of our revenue through commissions. We decided specifically to structure our pricing model that way because we've had mixed experiences in the past working with various agencies as clients before we started ColdFire. And we just felt that when the incentives between the agency and the client were not aligned, at least not for a large degree dependent on the performance, there would be friction over time and just mixed expectations, I guess would be the way to put it. So we decided to structure our pricing roughly on average between 80% and 20%, 80% being commission based and 20% coming from a base retainer fee. Now it does differ slightly, a few percentage points up or down. And that really has to do with the type of client we work with, which industry you're in, how expensive is your product or service, what are the sales cycles, etc. A few other things, but more or less on average, these are the numbers. So that's the first thing that is quite unique about ColdFire. The second thing is we really focus, I would say almost exclusively on agencies that do any kind of work except cold email. We don't work with agencies who sell a similar service to ours for obvious reasons. But we do help agencies, let's say SEO agencies, creative, digital, design, agencies that help with PPC or paid advertising, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. All of these types of agencies can benefit tremendously from a optimized cold outbound channel, and that's really what we focus on. Now, we have worked with SaaS companies in the past as well. If their ticket size allows for it, these are good clients for us, and we've been able to help them a lot. But it just turns out that our experience is mostly in the agency world, and so that's what we're really good at. If you have a traditional B2B service company, we have worked with them before. It's just harder to justify the return on investment, and I won't go into the details right now, but obviously the unit economics have to make sense. So if you sell any service or product in a B2B setting with a ticket size of, let's say, 10K or more USD, then feel free to fill out the form below and we'll get back to you and see if there's a match. So how do we work, and what do we consider the polite cold email playbook? What is that? So we've done hundreds of campaigns by now, not including our internal campaigns, so maybe even more than 1,000. And the data suggests that low volume outbound motions when it comes to email actually deliver much better results than these mass marketing campaigns, which makes sense because usually less thought is put into something that you quickly want to throw out to 10, 20,000 people as a newsletter kind of a format than if you would send an email out to, let's say, a friend or family member. And so ultimately, we really take the approach of low quantity email, but high quality. And so the email has to be succinct, short, to the point, obviously on target when it comes to tonality and the value proposition, but also your call to action, your subject title. There's just hundreds of variables that go into a very good cold email. And if you get all of these things dialed in for your audience and for your service, then if you think about it, a cold email should actually not feel like a cold email anymore. So that's what we refer to when we say polite cold email. It's an email that comes in, it's from someone I don't know, granted. But then everything else is so on point that I'm very tempted to keep reading and see what this is all about. That means everything in the email should essentially scream that I am not a spam email. I am not a cold email, right? And so we help you and your team build up that copy. We start all the way from researching how your company operates, what has worked for you in the past, what are the sales motions, who are you going after, who are the decision makers, who are the gatekeepers, etc., etc. So yeah, that's in a nutshell polite cold email. Low volume, but very high focus, or very focused on high quality content, and a curated audience. So we want to dial in, of course, the message to your ideal customer profile, and that's also part of our scope of work. So we help you build the audience list, and then also the cold email copywriting, which I just mentioned, but also the entire technical setup. So these days, spam filters are actually very sophisticated, both on the what we call public infrastructure, so maybe the Googles and the more free email providers out there, but also on the enterprise level. There is a whole new set of sort of anti-spam measurements that companies are taking. It takes a lot of experience, frankly, both on the technical side as well as on the copywriting side, to navigate those infrastructures and make sure that your message gets delivered in the primary inbox. So if you want to really summarize our service in 3 pieces, it is 1, thinking with you how to position and articulate your product or service to the audience, and building that audience. Second of all, writing the copy and making sure that we get the sequencing right of the email sequence that we send out. And then third of all, thinking about all the technical aspects of A, making sure that your email gets delivered, and B, you don't get flagged as spam. And so those are the 3 core components of our service. As I mentioned at the beginning, we really want to be aligned with all of our clients. So unfortunately, not everyone, I should say, that applies, we end up working with. We do have to have a belief on our team that your product or service says what it does or what it advertises. We want to work with teams that are selling good stuff, and that only allows for us to then really go in and craft a good email. No matter how good the email is we send, if ultimately the product doesn't work, it's just a broken process, and we'd like to avoid that from the start. So we do spend some time reviewing your product and service, and then of course the results and growth is front and center for us. So really making sure that once we start a campaign, once we do all of that investment up front on the copywriting, the audience list curation, doing the technical setup, running a test campaign, and adjusting things right before we push the main campaign live. Making sure that all of that is worth it, and that we believe from the start we can actually achieve the results that we have communicated with you. So we want to be aligned from the start, and then we work closely together through the campaign plan all the way to launch. So yeah, a little bit about ColdFire. Essentially, we are a very small agency, maybe not even an agency. It's like tiny. We're 4 people, so that's me plus 3 of my partners. Each of us has, I would say, roughly, at least 10, maybe even more, 12 years of work experience. So fairly senior team. Informal culture. Mainly, we focus on ownership. So if things go well, we love to celebrate that with our clients. And if they don't go well, there's no point for us to hide. And essentially, we'll just step forward and immediately come up with pragmatic solutions and trying to figure out why the campaign isn't performing the way we thought it would. How can we adjust it, and just not wait out, until the end of the month and then raise it, but rather jump into it right away and start that dialogue with our clients. So ownership and execution are the 2 core values that we focus on. So if you would like to know more about how we work with clients, you can pause this video, I guess, and then just read this snippet here. I'm not going to read that out now. As I mentioned, if you want to work together with us, please fill in the form below. We will then send you an email with what we call a link to our launch form. It's about a 10-minute questionnaire. Looks like this. Maybe you or someone on your team can fill it out. It really, our clients tell us, it helps them think in a different way about their business. So there's a lot of questions around your market, your product, how you're positioning it, and just is a clarifying exercise to begin with. But then also it helps us very much understand what your company is about, and gives us a head start into researching your space, your company, before we jump on a call together. So once you've done that, we will use that data to put together a free campaign plan. And once that's ready, roughly 2 or 3 days later, usually from the moment we receive your form, then we'll suggest a time to jump on a call and we can then discuss the plan. And if you like what we do, you can decide to start working with us. If not, you have a free campaign plan, and that's how we work. So let me know if that is of interest. Again, just fill out the form below. And thank you for your time. Have a good day. Bye.